Hi, this is Jagyan Datta from University Law College, Bhubaneswar. Historically, international law has played a key role in global communicable disease surveillance. Throughout the 19th century, international law played a dominant role in harmonizing the inconsistent national quarantine regulation of European nation states, facilitating the exchange of epidemiological information on infectious diseases, establishing international health organization and standardization of surveillance. My paper normally deals with the role of international laws and international infrastructures and national frameworks in respective countries to deal with such pandemic situation that our globe is facing right now. Today, communicable diseases have contributed to reshape the boundaries of global health governance through the legally binding and soft law regimes negotiated and adopted within the mandate of multilateral institutions like the World Health Organization WHO, which is a body of United Nations Council, the World Trade Organization also, and the Food Agriculture Organization and the Office International des Epizooties. The globalization of public health has employed international law as an indispensable tool in global health governance aimed at diminishing human vulnerability to the mortality and morbidity burdens of communicable diseases. While most scholars trace the origin of international law to the Westphalia of 1648, while ended the 30 Years' War and led to the evolution of nation-state concept. The international law until the mid 19th century did not come within the normative confines. When we come to the transnationalization of infectious diseases across the geopolitical boundaries during the European cholera epidemics in 1830 and 1847, that catalyzed the evolution of earliest multilateral governance of communicable diseases. Thus, the link between international law and communicable diseases is rooted in the mid 19th century, most precisely in 1851, when the France convened the first international sanitary conference. Notwithstanding more than the 150 years of subsequent multilateral linkage of law and communicable diseases, contemporary multilateral global health organization and global health governance continues to evoke debate in public health consciousness and public health discourses. What then is the relevance, if any, international law in global health governance today? When you come to the topic, the article which I represent, the article that discusses with the complexities of this question with respect to global communicable disease surveillance, the conceptual framework for the analysis focuses principally on the treaty making powers of WHO and those parts of the World Trade Organization agreements on trade related aspects of intellectual property rights, the TRIPS, and sanitary and phytosanitary measures that deals with prevention and control of global communicable disease. The challenges, when you come to the challenges posed by the globalization of communicable disease in an interdependent world, are explored, and it is argued that in absence of sanctions, there is a range of factors that could compel nation states to observe international rules and regulation on transboundary spread of emerging infectious diseases. Then we will come to the second part which I discussed in my paper, that's globalization of public health and the challenge of governance. The term globalization of public health has emerged in the policy discourses to express the transnational and globalized nature of public health threats, including the spread of communicable diseases in an interdependent world. And it also de-emphasizes the territorialization or nationalization of disease brought about the process of globalization, because communicable disease do not respect the geopolitical boundaries of nation states and state sovereignty in an alien concept in the microbial world. All of humanity is now vulnerable to the emerging and re-emerging threats of communicable disease that we are facing now is the SARS-CoV-19 virus pandemic. With the contemporary globalization of the world's political economy, as evidenced by the large volume of goods, people, and service that occurs national borders, the challenge of international law in global governance of communicable diseases is hardly recondite. Communicable diseases have emerged as an important topic in international law, and their ramification transverse a range of multilateral regimes such as World Health Organization's International Health Regulation, that is IHR, and World Trade Organization TRIPS and SPS agreements, and the WHO Food and Agriculture Organization, that's FAO, Codex Alimentation Commission standards on the food safety. Also, multilateral governance of communicable diseases, Commission Standard on Food Safety, Multilateral Governance are the subcategories of international law, international human rights law, and humanitarian laws of war, international environment law, law of the sea, and international maritime law, intellectual property law, and bioethics. Communicable diseases present enormous transnational challenges that are beyond the governance capabilities of individual nation states and require multilateral approaches. There is no fit to all approaches to contain a pandemic. Historically, international law has played an important role in this dynamic because states have used bilateral treaties and multilateral conventions to solve problems that are translateral in nature or transnational in nature. Then we come to the third part, which I had discussed in my paper, that's the legacy of 19th century and international sanitary conferences. In that part, I discussed about France convened the first and international sanitary conference, which was held in 1851, which was attended by 11 European states from 1851 to the end of 19th century. 10 such the international sanitary conferences were convened, and 8 sanitary conventions were negotiated on cross-border spread of cholera, plague, and yellow fever across the geopolitical boundaries of European nation states. Most of the sanitary conventions negotiated at these conferences were never ratified by the participating countries, or thus never entered into force. Nonetheless, the diplomatic efforts involved signified the necessity of tackling the cross-border spread of the disease multilaterally through the international conventions. The use of sanitary conventions and international institutions created a functional infectious disease surveillance system and the sharing of epidemiological information among countries. Within the Americas, the 1905 Inter-American Sanitary Convention imposed notification duties for cases of cholera, plague, and yellow fever. In 1924, Pan-American Sanitary Code provided for bi-weekly notification for 10 specific diseases and in other diseases that the Pan-American Sanitary Bureau might add, and also the immediate notification of plague, cholera, yellow fever, smallpox, typhus, or any other dangerous contagion or contagiable or spread through international commerce. The benefit of sharing epidemiological information with the corresponding obligation on states to notify of outbreaks in their territories was clearly within the scope of many of the sanitary regimes and also within the mandate of emergent multilateral health institutions. Surveillance was an important part of the mandate of Pan American Sanitary Bureau, Office International de Hygiene Public Health Organization of the League of Nations, and the Office International des Epizooties established in 1924. Then in my paper, I had discussed about WHO and the communicable diseases and the international health regulations. In 1951, WHO adopted the International Sanitary Regulations, the product of the 19th century International Sanitary Conventions, which were renamed the International Health Regulation, that is well known as IHR in nowadays. In 1969 and modified slightly in 1973 and 1981, the IHR came into force. The IHR are a legally binding set of regulation adopted under the auspices of WHO as an international organization and are one of the earliest multilateral regulatory mechanism strictly focusing on global surveillance for communicable diseases. As of 1997, the IHR were legally binding on all World Health Organization's member states except Australia. The international health regulations are a set of regulations for the control and sharing of epidemiological information on the transboundary spread of cholera, plague, and yellow fever. The fundamental principle to ensure maximum security against the international spread of diseases with a minimum interference with the world traffic. To achieve this, the regulation provide binding obligation on WHO member states to notify WHO of any outbreaks of these three diseases in their territories. Then in the next part, I would like to come to the conclusion of my paper. Historically, international law has played an important role in communicable disease surveillance since the 19th century international sanitary conferences. There is no reason why it should not continue to play a similar role in the 21st century when the globalization of the world's political economy and infectious disease is accelerating inseparably. International law has been at margins of communicable disease surveillance, especially within the mandate of WHO, since the IHR are not rigorously observed by its member states. Also, international law is grossly underutilized in global health governance. Communicable diseases are no more complex than a range of border issues that have effectively been the subjects of global governance in the past years. The sustained exclusion of such diseases from international law and global governance suggests that their law is too political to play an important role, that the utility of legal interventions in the global communicable disease surveillance is infinitesimal. Thank you.